So for the last few weeks, John Lynch in particular, the whole team really, but Lynch talking about finding the root issue with the 49ers. He even said it can't just be injuries. It's got to be something more. We're going to do a deep dive to find the root issue. And I think when you watch this game, Juwan Jennings getting ejected, 13 penalties. 13. One of the oldest teams in the league commits 13 penalties, while the Cardinals, who aren't very good, pretty well coached, commit 1. Kyle, when you're searching around far and wide, all over the world, trying to find the root cause of the Niners 6-11 season, I'll give you a hint. It's you. You were the root cause. I'm not saying you're a bad coach. You've done good things in the past. Really good things. Not great things, but really good things. But this year, you were a bad coach. You were the root cause of the 49ers 6-11 season. So many decisions that Kyle Shanahan made, starting with firing Steve Wilks. If you can replace Steve Wilks with Bill Belichick or Robert Saleh, by all means do it. But you didn't. You fired him because you were upset. You should have been mad at yourself. It all stems with Kyle Shanahan's not unwillingness, but complete refusal or maybe inability to assess himself. I asked him the question this week, how do you assess yourself? He said, I don't understand the question, which is an honest answer. He doesn't understand how to assess himself or why it's important. Can't do it. So he had the opportunity after the Super Bowl. Okay, let me look in the mirror. Let me figure out how I blew this and make sure I never do it again. Had he done that, who knows? Maybe they're in the playoffs right now. But instead, he blames Wilks, who was not at fault for that Super Bowl loss. You blame Wilks and you replace him with Nick Sorensen. So you just made your team worse because you wouldn't look in the mirror. Option 1, look in the mirror, blame yourself. Everyone gives you a round of applause. Oh my God, he's growing. He's maturing. What a coach. What a guy. Nope, you blame Steve Wilks, replace Nick Sorensen. That's one of the worst moves in the NFL this year. And then it was just bad decision after bad decision. Signing Devondre Campbell. And then playing Devondre Campbell all season over D. Winters simply because you signed Devondre Campbell and gave him $5 million for some reason. That was him. Not cutting Jake Moody ever. Letting Jake Moody miss all those kicks this year. Why? That was on Kyle. Sticking with Deebo Samuel relentlessly all season, even though he was awful as a receiver, as a running back, and not really featuring Ricky Pearsall until the season was over. And then finding out, oh, he was ready, he's good. Getting every single running back on the team injured because he simply refused to rotate them. Turns out, all the running backs on the roster were good this year. Every single one of them. Except for McCaffrey, who was injured, not in football shape. Jordan Mason, great. Isaac Arendo, really good. Patrick Taylor Jr., apparently he's freaking good too. He was terrific in this game. And yet, Kyle Shanahan, the only player he would use as a change of pace back this season was Deebo, who averaged 3.2 yards per carry. Every other running back averaged more than that. Patrick Taylor averaged 4.2 yards per carry. The other guys averaged over 5 yards a carry. Christian McCaffrey, notwithstanding. Just the mismanagement of the running back position alone. I mean, imagine if if Kyle had actually rotated Mason and Garendo early in the year and then kept using them when McCaffrey came back. You could have had the best three-headed monster in the freaking league. Instead, McCaffrey comes back, gets 20-plus touches a game, goes down in 3 weeks. Garendo never was a starter in college, had injuries in college, got injured again, MCL injury. The special teams are freaking abysmal, and they're not going to get better under Kyle Shanahan because he doesn't care about special teams. He doesn't know about special teams. He'll say it proudly. I don't know anything about special teams. So what he does is just throws a bunch of resources at it. Oh, okay, well, we'll draft a punter in round 4, and we'll draft a kicker in round 3, and then don't ask me about it. We're good. No, you could draft a kicker in round 1. Your special teams are going to suck because you're not involved in it. You're the head coach and you have nothing to offer on special teams. Head coaches are supposed to be guys who could coach literally anything on the team. A lot of coaches in the NFL have been position coaches on offense, defense, position coaches all around the team, special teams coordinators. He was a wide receiver coach, a quarterback coach for 1 year, and a coordinator. He's not really a coach. He's a play caller. So the good news is that if Kyle Shanahan looks in the mirror, a real mirror, not like one of those circus funny mirrors that make you look taller than you are or bigger than you are, like a real mirror. If he looks at it this offseason, plenty of time, and he's honest about what he sees, and he acknowledges that he was the root cause of the problems this year, and he actually works to fix them, the Niners will be good next year because he's talented. The problem with Kyle isn't that he's not talented. I mean, that was Chip Kelly's fault problem, Tom Sula's problem. The problem with him is that for all his talent, he's not quite good enough to win the big one. And if he would just change a little bit, tweak something about him, his personality, about his identity, he could do it. He has the talent. But there's something inside him that holds himself back. You call it whatever you want to call it. An X factor. He's his own biggest enemy. If he can just finally get over that and say, you know what? I wasn't playing the best players this year for whatever reason. I blew the Super Bowl. I promoted the wrong defensive coordinator. I played Devontae Campbell too long. I played Deebo Samuel too long. I'm going to tell everyone this was not my best season. After looking at the film, after really taking a deep dive, I blame myself. And I have all the time in the world this offseason to fix it and be my best version of myself next year. If he said that, how confident, how optimistic would you feel about this team? It's all about him. He has the power to change and correct the issues that plague this team this year. They're all within his power. He can control it. Do you think he'll do it? I want to be optimistic and say, yeah, I think Kyle Shanahan will actually be honest with himself this offseason, look in the mirror, grow and evolve. I want to say that I think he can do that because I feel like every human being has it within him to do it. But I've never seen him do those things. Ever. Not one time. And so I have a feeling they'll bring him back and the team will be pretty similar next year. Maybe they'll get rid of Nick Sorensen. Maybe they'll get rid of Jake Moody. But it'll be the same attitude of Kyle running a team and insisting that he's not any part of the problem and systematically looking for people to throw under the bus for the Niners' poor results. I don't expect the Niners to do better next year. They may have a better record because their opponents are weaker, but I don't expect them to be a better team because I don't expect Kyle Shanahan to change anything about himself. But I dare him to, and I would be so pleasantly surprised to see him do it. I know a lot of people think like I'm rooting against Kyle Shanahan or I'm trying to get him fired. I just think that we know who he is after 8 years and that people don't change. But I could be wrong. Maybe we don't know who Kyle Shanahan is. Maybe his whole life was building up to this offseason where he's going to make the necessary changes and create the best version of himself as a coach. Possible. I'm open-minded. I just don't. If I had to bet on it, I wouldn't think that he would actually look in the mirror, even look in the mirror. Because again, it was 4 days ago when I asked him to assess himself and he said, does not compute. Don't understand what that means. I'm sorry. Did you just speak Greek? I don't speak that language. The problem with this too is I feel like everyone knows it's him. I can't prove it. I think the players know it's him. He doesn't know it's him. He's the only one who doesn't realize he's the root of the issue. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's on the plane home right now making a list of all the things he can do better this year. Maybe he is. That'd be great. I'd love to see it.